What's up, faithful? Welcome in. You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. Chase Senior here with you. Hope all of you out there having a fantastic Tuesday. What we're talking about on today's show, according to Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, Bill Belichick has been shopping Mac Jones this offseason. And we know that this is an organization for the Niners that's been infatuated with Mac Jones in the past. There are a lot of issues here between New England, Mac Jones, and that's a big reason why Jones could be dealt. According to a couple of reports out there, Belichick shopping him, but also there's a clashing of heads between Mac Jones, this coaching staff, Mac Jones and Bill Belichick. It's getting pretty interesting here. And my overall take on all of this from a macro perspective is that Mac Jones, for me, if you're thinking about trading for him because of the uncertainty with Brock Purdy, the lack of development and inexperience of Trey Lance, and you think that Mac Jones can be your guy, I actually disagree. And I wouldn't trade for him because for me, Mac Jones does not scream special. He has a ceiling. He's like Jimmy Garoppolo. You know what you're going to get from him, and you can tap into some of that talent and try to maximize him as a player. There's only so far that you can go, and there's only so far that he can take you because he is what he is at this point, whereas a guy like Trey Lance, who they drafted in 2021, has some untapped potential with a limitless base in terms of his talent. Now, before we continue to dive into this, make sure you subscribe to us here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. We just surpassed 80,000 subscribers, and because of that, when I get back from Key West, we're going to be celebrating with a number 80 Jerry Rice jersey. When it comes to offseason, free agency, draft coverage, we've been crushing. We're the largest independently run Niners channel on YouTube. If you want daily shows on the Niners, make sure you lock us in and subscribe. Now, the San Francisco 49ers do have a lot of ties to Mac Jones here. Kyle Shanahan admitted that the Niners were deciding between Mac Jones and Trey Lance heading into the 2021 NFL Draft. And according to reports, San Francisco did not want to draft Jones because of public pressure, and that's why they didn't pull the trigger on him, which is pretty interesting for a couple of reasons. Now, the buzz at that time from talking heads and reporters, guys like Peter King, was that Shanahan coveted Mac Jones' accuracy, especially with what he was able to display at Alabama. And here's what Shanahan said for himself recently on the 2021 draft and their type of approach heading into draft night. We did the trade so early to move up that it made me feel good about it. I knew before we did it how I felt about the quarterbacks and how good we would be to take them at 12. There were two that I really, really wanted. Mac Jones as well as Trey Lance. Those were the two guys that we were locked in on from the beginning. So that's the head coach of this football team who has a lot of sway and a lot of power within this organization saying himself that San Francisco is interested in taking Mac Jones. And that's why we're talking about it here. As for those issues that do exist that I did preview a little bit earlier, there's tension between Belichick and Jones over the disaster that was the 2022 offense, a disastrous season in which Matt Patricia was basically the de facto offensive coordinator. The reported destinations from Pro Football Talk doesn't include right now the San Francisco 49ers. It includes the Las Vegas Raiders, the Josh McDaniels ties. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they signed Baker Mayfield to be their starter. The Houston Texans with DeMeco Ryans still don't have a quarterback. They could draft one though. And the Washington Commanders, who, according to accounts, they're going to go with Sam Howell as their starting quarterback, which I'm not fully buying just yet. As for what Mac has been able to do so far in his career, there was a huge regression from his rookie campaign in 2021 to his sophomore campaign in 2022. I'll get to why I think that happened in just a second. During his rookie season, Mac Jones completed 67.5% of his passes. That's really solid. For 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 picks, and a QBR of 50.9. Then he took a step back here in 2022. 65.2 completion percentage, less than 3,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a QBR paltry 36.1. And you could tell that all throughout last year in that campaign, Mac Jones grew very, very frustrated with the situation in Foxborough. Now, let me say this. What was Mac Jones' regression due to? And let me pose that question. Think about it, right? Was it him not being a great player? I think that he can be a solid Jimmy Garoppolo middle-tier quarterback in this league, as I discussed a little bit earlier. Or was it because of the awful coaching decision and the hiring of Bill Belichick to bring in Matt Patricia, a defensive mind and former defensive coordinator, to be their OC, combined with the fact that the New England Patriots, their number one wideout was Jacoby Myers, and they really didn't have a great complementary cast. So with that, our poll question for today's show, and we see the $50 Super Chats coming in here on our live show. Would you trade for Mac Jones? T for trade, M for Mac is mid, meaning that he is really just average. That's what the kids are saying on the block these days. Let us know. Now, the draft is coming up in a couple of weeks, and if you want to get swagged up and swagged out and rock some Niners gear during this draft season, 49ers draft hats now available. Couple different styles. There's the dad hat style to my right with the bent brim. There's also the flat brim style. How do you get them? It's very simple. Just use that link down below at the bottom of your screen, which is also in the comment section and in the description of this video. It's chatsports.com/49ers draft hats. I have to say, these hats are really nice. Some of them in previous years haven't been all that great. Let's pivot this question and let's pivot this conversation to this. Would Bill Belichick want Trey Lance? And could you trade away Trey Lance for Mac Jones? Salary is very similar, considering when they were drafted, both in the first round of the 2021 draft. What would the Patriots do at quarterback if they did trade away Mac Jones? And could they find a trade partner if they dealt him to San Francisco? If the Niners were very worried about Brock Purdy's elbow, as well as Trey Lance and Sam Darnold, that they make this deal, which I do think is highly unlikely. But we're talking about it because we like to have these fun conversations. Do they think Bailey Zappi is him? Last year, I thought that Zappi showed some things in limited playing time, completed nearly 71% of his passes, 781 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks. There's rumors out there that some players in the locker room preferred Zappi to Mac Jones. He comes out of Western Kentucky. I thought he threw with accuracy, and I thought he threw with anticipation. But like Mac Jones with Bailey Zappi, there's a ceiling on what he can do. With Trey Lance, if he goes to a quality offense, a good coaching staff, he stays healthy and just gets some playing time, maybe he has no ceiling. Maybe his potential is limitless. It's obviously hard to tell because of his lack of experience so far. 4 games started in his NFL career. He's completed sub 55% for 797 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks, 235 rushing yards with 1 touchdown. But this is why another team, maybe New England, could be appealed by the idea of trading for Trey Area. Still only 22 years old. Turns 23 in May. Great size, good athleticism. I actually like his pocket feel. I thought that when the pocket crashed around him, did a good job of sensing where defenders were, buying time within the pocket, having that good pocket mobility, stepping up to make a throw, and then he thought about running it. Still has untapped potential. I like his size, 6'4", 225. He's kind of that modern prototype of what you look for in a quarterback in today's NFL. Unfortunately for him, lack of experience, some his doing, others not. He's been injured. Also at North Dakota State, there was the COVID year. He could not control that. So 21 combined starts in 2019 because he only got to start that one game his final year because of COVID. Those rules at the time, absolute lunacy. Needs to iron out his accuracy issues. That's the thing with Trey. Consistent accuracy. That's what Shanahan's looking for. That's what he needs to get better at. So let's round out with this here. Pick a quarterback. Who would you rather have as your franchise guy, your QB1? Is it Lance type TL? Is it Mac type MJ? Sound off in the comment section.